Spring. Springtime. Spring meant Easter. Spring meant hope. Spring meant rain, and rain meant trouble. Whenever it rained, my mother would seal the house like a tomb, every window shut tight. If one drop of water ever got in, it would have been the end of us all. It would have been too much. Oh, my mother had a real problem with too much. It was almost as bad as missing out. Get there early or you'll be missing out. Oh, you're overdoing it. It's too much. These were the two extremes in my mother's world. Too much. Missing out. Both were equally evil. Spring. Springtime. Spring meant spring cleaning, and spring cleaning meant tag sales. Every spring, people would empty their attics and their basements onto their front lawns, and my mother would be there waiting for them. She loved getting a deal on anything. She felt if you paid full price for something, it was too much. My father was just the same. If I asked him for a dime for a candy bar, he'd always say, "I'm as broke as a church mouse." When you're a kid, you don't know you're broke or what a church mouse is. You just think your parents are mean because all the other kids in the neighborhood got G.I. Joe with Kung Fu grip, and you got Fightin' Yank with non-movable limbs. G.I. Joes could talk. Fightin' Yank couldn't do anything. Whenever I played with my friends, I always had to be the wounded German. Everybody else in the neighborhood had Hot Wheels and Matchboxes, not me. I had kooky cars, 87 of them for $1, all painted the same color. And my mother would always go, "They're just the same. No one will notice the difference." She was my mother, and I believed her. She was wrong. Everyone noticed the difference. That's how you get picked to be the wounded German every time. You parents out there, don't do it. Don't try to save the extra couple of bucks. Your kids will be up here doing a show about you. Pay now or really pay later. So when spring did come, my mother would go to these tag sales and flea markets, and she'd drag me along with her. I'd look at the broken toys, and she'd pick through the rest of the junk, and at the end of the day, I would beg and plead for something, to buy me something, and once in a blue moon, she would. You're thinking, what's he complaining about? Well, I'll tell you. On these rare occasions, after making a big deal about it, and listing all the things I hadn't done around the house for the past 5 years, she would reach into her pocketbook and pull out a dime and buy me something like 101 games in a box with half the pieces missing. Here's the picture, me sitting in the backyard, crying, trying to figure out what to do with this thing. Well, if I put the Parcheesi pieces on the Michigan rummy board, I could make an obstacle course for Fightin' Yank. More tears. I love to play in the backyard by myself. I say love to because I didn't have any choice. I wasn't allowed to cross the street, and escape from Stalag 13 was impossible. So I loved to play in the backyard by myself. My favorite toy, the garden hose. Beat the hell out of 101 games in a box. Used to drive my mother nuts. See, our backyard sloped downward with a path that led from the back of the house all the way down to the garden, a good 100 yards, so that water running very slowly would take a good long time to get to the bottom. Now, I would turn it on ever so slightly, because my mother could hear me doing something wrong over the vacuum cleaner and Jack LaLanne. I would set up my army guys and play for hours until there was a huge lake at the bottom of the path. But then eventually, my mother would hear the water and begin to scream. She would hear it, but sometimes she would smell it. My mother could smell water. She was like a gazelle on the Serengeti. My mother could smell anything a mile away. She was like Lassie. There's a fire up on Redstone Hill. The Callahans are having corned beef again. She knows that gives them gas. So my mother, the banshee, would sniff the air, smell the water, and begin to scream, "Turn off that water!" You think we're made of money? You've got toys to play with. I've got toys to play with. I guess I've got so many pieces of toys that collectively they might make one toy. Now this was a running theme in my house, making one out of many, e pluribus unum. What my mother used to do with breakfast cereal ought to be against the law. If there was an open box of cereal, say a quarter full, she'd find another open box, sometimes two, and mix them all together. Believe me, you haven't lived till you've had a bowl of Captain Crunch and Raisin Bran. Lucky Charms, Wheaties, and Kaboom. Every morning there was a new disaster waiting for me. My mother was the original serial killer. Sorry. Now, the only reason I was allowed cereal at all was because my father, thank God, had a sweet tooth. Or as he would say, a sweet toot. And because of this sweet toot, we also had cookies and soda in the house. Now, the cookies were the generic kind. You get like 3 dozen windmill cookies for a quarter. But we also had those sugar wafers. You know, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You get like 10 zillion of those for a quarter. Oh. Now, I'm sure everyone here above the age of 40 had Coca-Cola as a child. Except me. Not even close. My mother used to go down to a store called Stop and Save, where she would buy a case of store brand soda. 24 cans for $1, and that's before the coupon. Assorted flavors, so I got the full torture. Black cherry, fruit punch, lemon lime, and worst of all, cola. Stop and Save cola. It was like carbonated rust water. Now, if you were lucky, the ginger ale wasn't too bad. And the root beer, that's really the only one that didn't taste like the cat made it. But this too came to an end because these sodas had sugar in them. Too much sugar. Much too much sugar. So my mother started buying Tab, Fresca, and Diet Clico Club with a little Eskimo on the label. Now this is back in the late 60s when sugar-free soda really tasted bad. It's just the same as regular, and I wanted to believe her, but it tasted like absolute crap. I tried to make it better by adding sugar. I might as well have added sand. Diet Chocolate Clico Club with a big scoop of sugar in it. Delicious. Oh, and in Plainville, we called it soda. It wasn't tonic or pop or anything like that. It was soda. Unless you were my father, and then it was soda. Go get me a soda, Robbie. Now, after we would drink the soda, my father would always say, now brush your teeth, Robbie. You won't have a toot in your head.